Here's number 3. So we have angle A and angle B, and they're supplementary.
Which of course means that the measure of angle A plus the measure of angle B should equal 180. Here's my measure of angle A, here's the measure of angle B, so I'm going to substitute them into this equation. So there's angle A plus the measurement of angle B. And it has to equal 180 because they are supplementary. Now, you might notice this x squared. That means this is a quadratic equation. So I'm going to try and solve this quadratic equation. And remember, to solve a quadratic equation, you want to set it equal to 0. So the first thing I'm going to do is combine my like terms and write them in the normal order that we usually write quadratic equations in, which is starting with x squared. Now the 11x minus the 5x would be plus 6x. And we've got negative 11 and positive 2, which is negative 9, equals 180. And to set it equal to 0, I need to subtract the 180 over to the other side. So 3x squared plus 6x minus 189 equals 0. Okay. Now, I want to try and factor this. Something that's helpful here, you might notice all of these numbers are divisible by 3. And of course I know this is divisible by 3 because if I add up the digits, 1 plus 8 is 9, plus 9 is 18. The digits add up to 18, which is divisible by 3. Therefore, so is the number as a whole. So I'm going to divide all of these by 3. I'm going to divide both sides of the equation by 3 to make the factoring easier. So that's going to give me x squared. And for the 6x, that'll make it a 2x. And for the 189, that's going to be minus 63. Okay, and of course 0 divided by 3 is still 0. Now, here's something that's going to be a little bit easier to factor. So I know my first two terms have to multiply together to get x squared. That must be x and x. My last two terms need to multiply together to get negative 63. And there aren't a whole lot of options. So, for instance, negative 3, some combination of negative 3 and 21. Or 3 and negative 21. But I need some numbers that are close together because I want a middle term of 2, which is going to be a small number. And since these numbers, one's positive and one's negative, we're going to be subtracting. So they should be pretty close together. So let me see if I can find some different numbers. It's not divisible by 6. What else would it be divisible by? Well, what about 7? So 63 could be 7 and 9. So either 7 and negative 9 or negative 7 and a positive 9. Okay, and so I can try all these different combinations if I want, minus 3 and plus 21, etc., etc. But it's going to work out with this one. And let's double check that. So x times x is x squared plus 9x minus 7x. So the plus 9x and the minus 7x give us the 2x. And then the last term would be minus 63. So it checks out. Now, I'm not done. Remember, I need to set each factor equal to 0 and get my actual x values. Don't just automatically switch the signs, because if you have some other number besides a 1 in front of your x, that's going to give you the wrong answer. So my 2x values that solve this equation, which is this original equation up here, are 7 and negative 9. But remember, just because they actually solve the equation doesn't mean they will work for these two specific angles. So we want to find the measures of the angles anyway, which means we're going to have to plug in our x values. So we'll see if they both work. And if I try to plug in negative 9 for my x, you'll see I get a measure of angle A. That would be 11 times negative 9. Negative 99 minus 11, so negative 110. Would that be a good measurement for angle A? No, it would not. We shouldn't have any negative angle measurements. So x equals 7 should be the one that works. Let's check. So the measure of angle A would have to equal 11 times 7 minus 11, which is 77 minus 11, which is 66. And then the measure of angle B would be 3 times 7 squared minus 5 times 7 plus 2. I'll borrow my trusty calculator. So that's 3 times 7 squared is 49 minus 35 plus 2 equals 114. Do those add up to 180? Yes, they do. So there are my two answers. And again, make sure we answer the right question. It asks for the measures of the angles. So your answer is not the x value, but it's these two measurements. So make sure you actually go in and find them.